everyone, I'm Katie.
I'm Costa.
I'm Maciek.
I'm Taryn.
I'm Amanda.
And our ZOFN project is the purchase of fishing equipment in Haiti. So what are we going to discuss this morning? First off, we're going to start off with a description of the project, kind of what's going on for the project, and then we're going to go to a brief history of Haiti. Then we're going to talk about some stories of families affected by Haiti. Then move on to the current fishing industry in Haiti, the situation that's currently in, the effects and impacts of the project, reasons for its potential success, our plan, and then a call to action. So, the project. We need to know what exactly we're funding, what we're getting into. This project is located in Chardonnay, which is in the southwest part of the country. The amount requested was $3,350. At the moment, they have half of their goal raised, so $1,675. They currently need $1,675 more. They're halfway there. With this loan, they're going to be purchasing new equipment. They would like to buy a new solar regulator, 8 new batteries, an inverter, a solar panel for enough energy for a freezer. And this is going to help them because they currently own one 25 horsepower, or they want a 25 horsepower engine because right now their engine isn't very powerful. So it requires them to use 8 gallons of fuel to make 2 trips. So with this loan, they're going to be able to reduce their fuel costs and then in turn make more profits so they can help better their current situation. The goal with this right now is nearly impossible to keep the fish that they do catch fresh because they don't have the freezer, so the fish gets spoiled by the time they can even get it back to the mainland. So the goal obviously is just to purchase enough equipment to increase the production, and this project is going to immediately affect at least 45 families.
All right, so in order to understand the importance behind this project and the spirit of the Haitian people, it's important that we understand the history of Haiti itself. And it was known as the first colony in the New World to, it's a French colony in the New World, and it was the richest at its time. Slave population was approximately 500,000 to 700,000 slaves, and these slaves came from Africa, and they faced a very poor life in which legislation worked against their rights, as well as they faced abuse from the French who were in the colony. And in spite of all of this, they were able to produce 40% of the world's coffee, or 60% of the world's coffee and 40% of the world's supply of sugar. So it was a very important colony in the sense that they've supplied a lot of the world with their demands for coffee and sugar, leading to the nation's wealth on the backs of the slaves. And in 1801, the Haitians led a revolution against the French, in which they became the first black public and independent Caribbean state, and they abolished slavery. And in spite of this landmark in their history, which they carry with them today, they faced an indemnity that they had to pay back to France, or else they wouldn't be recognized by the United States and they wouldn't be recognized by the French. And so as a result of this debt, it carried with a period of unstable government and dire economic conditions, leading to poor quality of life. Which brings us to the past 50 years with their natural disasters. Their history from leading a slave revolt led to an unstable government in which hurricanes and tropical disasters didn't help them build an infrastructure or a government that was able to sufficiently face what the country had faced with the hurricanes and floods. In particular, since 2004, they faced 2 tropical storms, 3 hurricanes, an earthquake in 2010 that hit Port-au-Prince, killing tens of thousands of patients, and a malaria outbreak that killed nearly 6,000 in 2010 that went until 2011. So what's the impact behind all of this? Well, the natural disasters, although they get a lot of attention in the media and we think of them in the forefront of our minds, are not the sole problem for Haiti. And it's essentially that they have an unstable government, which has enabled their poverty, that's basically sustained their poverty, and dictatorships, which have led a lot of the elite Haitians out since about 1900s when they went through a series of dictatorships. And it has led them to rely on foreign aid, and they can't build their own infrastructure. With this project, the goal is to stimulate the fishing industry so they can help build their own infrastructure based off an agricultural business and essentially feed the Haitians and stop relying on foreign imports to diminish the wealth gap between the impoverished Creole-speaking Black majority versus the French-speaking minority, which is known as the 1% Haiti, responsible for the nation's wealth.
So, what happened after the earthquake in 2010? Well, since now it is 2013, it's been 3 years after this earthquake, 500,000 homeless people still remain, and 360,000 people still live under tarps. And this is a quote by David Zacks from Manline Today. He was actually there days after the earthquake, and he says, "During a midnight thunderstorm, I saw a woman bathing a 6-month-old baby in a pothole by the side of a busy street. Even people who own homes that hadn't collapsed lived in tents for fear that their houses could still collapse due to structural damage." This just goes to show how bad it was and had an impact on not only families, but just as the people as a whole. And we also have a picture showing Haitian life. So what we want to do with this funding and what it will help with, jobs will increase from about 144 people to 2,400 people by 2014. And social needs of families in the entire village need to rise, and with this funding they will, because families will be able to recover, children will be able to go back to school, our water supply will go up, and medicine will be more readily available. And then moving on, we are going to look at a side through the eyes of the Haitian. It's a local Haitian. He grew up there as a boy. His name is Jean Wiener, and he is also a marine biologist. He goes on to say that fish thrive in healthy reefs, and Haiti does not have that right now. 80% of the reefs on its 1,100-mile coastline have suffered heavy damage.